Right, 33, Project Bandit, part 33, I think. More of this daft skinning on the inside thing with t-shirt cloth. Why did I start this, honestly? I thought this would take about 2 or 3 hours to do the whole lot, as I think someone else guessed, but no. What I did the other day on video, on the last video, was 4 hours uploaded to what it was. And the dome is taking so much longer. It really is, because the dome is a spherical shape, or a quarter of a spherical shape, and effectively, as you're skinning it between the rails, it's stretching inwards. You'll see in a minute. Stick with it. The point of that is that the tension has to be quite correct, otherwise it puckers up and sits at different angles, and then when you put the skin on the outside, if I ever get that far, it's all going to sit at different levels and look crap, so I don't want that. So I'm trying to take the time to get it right. Now, problem is, the super glue sets pretty fast. It sets in about, it actually doesn't set in 10 seconds. It sticks your fingers in 10 seconds, but it sets from the cloth to the metal in about 30, and you can only glue a centimetre at a time. You kind of have to stretch it, press it down, glue it, and wait 30 seconds, and then stretch the next, and that sort of thing. And it just goes on and on and on. So what I've done, just as a fast forward, I've done 3/4 of the back end. I've done it in 4 sections. Well, I've done 3 of them, and the last one to do. So I'm just going to film this, just a quick, fast run through of what I'm doing, so you can see what's happening. So I know that so many of you love the project, and that's really encouraging, because I need that right now. I really do. Beginning to wonder why I started this. I should have just skinned it on the outside, but I think it's worth it. I'm this far now. Struck out on the resin so far. I've had to order some online, and that won't be here until Tuesday or Wednesday at the very earliest, which puts me only 10 days from deadline. Still should be okay. Just a little bit closer than I wanted it to be. I wanted to be doing the resin today, but there we go. That's the way it goes sometimes. That's YouTube. So stick around, stay tuned, see where we go with this, and let's see if we can make some progress. And finally tonight, get the inner skin, the cloth side of things, done and finished, so that we can move on to the resining as soon as the stuff arrives. Right, so far, kind of that much of the inside's been done. I had to do, you can see it, I had to do that inner section first, and then once that was done, then come to the outer one, and then this section is this side, and the last bit that I'm going to do now is that last section. But it is coming together. It's starting to look the part. That's, I think, about the aim, something like that, so that excuse me, when the fiberglass goes on, it should follow that in a sort of skeletal, spiderwebby type way, I hope. In a way, it'd be great to leave it like that, but it's just not going to stay stuck to the inside. It needs something gripping it from the outside to hold it there. Anyway, there we are. That's it so far. Got this last little section to do. And this was just a little interlude to switch the camera on. Wasn't actually going to film this bit, this back section. I was just going to do it and go, ta-da! Here's what I made earlier, Blue Peter style. But in the end, it's been easier to just do it and show you a little bit. There we are. Right. So that's that. There's my hands in the way. That's that section. There, finished. I'll do the next one. Trying to get the thing propped up after the battle. Okay. More cloth. There we go. Half the problem now with this tail end, this dome section, is getting your hands in there. Right. sort of have to soak the cloth and then stretch it over the underskin so that it presses down hard enough to bond, but you can't press it with your fingers because they'll stick. And this is literally real time. There's a centimetre there, that's the start. Now that's stuck. I can take the fingers away, and then for some reason this plastic handle doesn't stick to the glue, so I can use that as a little bit of a rub, like you do with a roller on fiberglass, to push the glue down through the cloth, because I'm sticking it to this edge underneath, and that works the glue down through the layers of cloth, and then when it sets hard it becomes a complete bond. It's not just two surfaces stuck together, they're actually mingled in, which will definitely help stick and sitting together. Now, tiny little, I need borrower's fingers. Anybody got hands like the borrower's, please? Stuff. So that's how painstaking it is. That's taken the last 5 whatever minutes, and now that won't, you can't pull on that and stretch it for about another 5 minutes. I've tried a couple of times, it just pulls off and you're starting again. So there we are, moving forward. So you let that go now, it just pops off, and then you've got a piece of cloth with the glue stuck in it, which is then rock hard, and you can't get it off, so you end up ripping it, and then the whole piece has got to come out and start again, which I had up here, and I had to cut a whole piece in. You kind of got to take your time. Less is more haste, less speed, da-di-da. The more you rush at it, the more you make mistakes, and those mistakes cost you in the long run. It takes longer. Of course, a lot of the issue with this is that you're gluing it to a concave surface inside. If this had been glued on the outside, on a convex surface, it'd be ever so easy, because you just stretch it over the surface, screw it at the bottom so it's nice and tight, and then you can just glue wherever it touches. In fact, you wouldn't even really need to glue it, because you tie it and then resin it once it's in place, trim off the excess. But because you're sticking it to the inside, this is what's taking the time. It's very time consuming, and I know I keep bleating about that, but it's because I'm on a deadline now, and I really wanted to be past this. When I set out, I did envisage just fiberglassing it over, but the great idea of doing this means I've just kind of gone a bit deeper into the project. Like you do, all projects take on different directions. They evolve into something else halfway along, because you want to go a different way, you want to do something a bit better, you want to improve things as they go and achieve a better result. So that's really, without bleating, it's just you take on something, you think of a better idea, and then you realise it's a lot more than you thought it would be. But there we go, it's just time. It's not difficult or complex, it's just fiddly, messy, smelly. If you had smelly vision, you'd all be as high as I am, man. Not that super glue has got an epoxy in it, so it doesn't have that kind of smell. It's more an acidic. If you ever, well, I'm sure you've all smelled super glue, it's not nice. It's kind of a acrid, acidic smell, so that's something else that's part of putting up with it. There we go. Half the time like this is spent just mauling the cloth about, just to try and get it in the right position. With fingers in there, like that, so I can hold it like there, over that metal piece there, your hand in the right place, and then I can just do that 1/2 inch. And obviously being careful each time, because I've done it a couple of times, you should do that while you're working, lean on it and stick the whole bleeding thing to your hand. I think it's because I'm just getting tired and bored with it. Stand still.
It's the fumes.
Yeah, wiggly wiggly, man. There's a big metal lump behind there, so that will stick nicely to that. There's quite a lot of glue there, so I'll have to hold that for a good 4 or 5 minutes so that completely sets and becomes bonded. You can tell it's gone off, because if you look at the rest of the glue, it goes matte coloured. So while it's glossy, it's wet. It literally dries. I think whatever solvent is in it does dry away, and you can see the wet bits. So they're the bits not to touch. Crane flies coming in now. Almost at the end of the first pot of glue now, and almost at the end of the job as far as the glue is concerned, so absolute score on that one. Nothing like getting your quantities right. There we go. That is one pot of glue finished. And I'm pretty much done. Just a little bit in the tunnel to do, which I'll do later. Later. Can't be bothered now, that's full. That's enough for one evening. I say I've got more fear of slipping with this and going through the cloth than I have in slipping and going through me, because I can deal with that. Because once I rip it, I've got to do that whole piece again. Right, there we go. Right, there we are. That is pretty much it. Now the whole thing contains about 10 hours work. It's not finished. I've got some little bits here that I need to get some cloth up underneath there, otherwise anything I put over the top will fall in too far. But just wanted to show you this curved in effect has been a happy accident. It's something that didn't really think it would occur, didn't know it would occur, certainly didn't intend it. The idea is pulling it two directions, pulling it laterally and longitudinally. So pulling it kind of that way, side to side, and then stretching it between as well, pushes that in, which is cool. And any outside skin now is going to fall quite nicely in and give me that fantastic spiderweb feel. I've just got to get the resin on the inside. So there we are. Back end skinned on the inside, at least. Right, there we go. That's another few hours. As I said, 10 hours in all now on that. Now, because I planned to exoskin this, is that a word? Is that a word?
Who knows?
I like it though. I planned to exoskin it, and I've ended up endo skinning it, and that has left a couple of bolts proud poking out in the frame, which is ever so simple. All I'll do with that is cover them in polythene and then put the frame on and in situ, and then just resin that area so that it follows the line of that bolt, and when I put it on it doesn't bash against it. There's a couple of areas inside here as well where the corner there's a corner of the battery box is just going to poke out there a little bit, but it's not much, it's not an issue, it's nothing that can't be dealt with, and as I said, I'll just cover it push it down, resin that bit, so effectively that follows that line. But that is, I've got to say, hands up, I'm really chuffed with that. I really am. I had no intention for it to go like that. I did not follow this as a plan. I didn't start it that way. I was just going to whack a skin over the outside of it, fiberglass. But all your suggestions and your keeping on and on at me, you read down the comments about every third one. You should let the frame show. You should let the frame show, Del. Yeah, well, I've agreed with you, and I love it. And it was a great idea. And the reason this has ended up like this is because of you. This is what YouTube's about. I've got that feedback from you, and that feedback has manifest itself in the finished job. So that's thanks to you, and I want to thank you for that suggestion initially, and then the fact that everybody poured that suggestion along almost without reading anybody else saying it. It's just a consensus of opinion. So we love it, don't we, Pen?
Mm-hmm.
And that looks brilliant. Now, just another announcement before we go to bed and finish this one for tonight, and that is that we've opened a Twitter account. And the reason we've done it is that many people are saying, are you on Twitter, are you on Facebook, whatever. No, I'm not. Never done it. I haven't got the time for it. But always up for trying anything. Never cast anything off that I haven't tried. We've never tried Twitter, have we, Pen? So we've opened a Twitter account. It's Delboy's Garage. Pretty straightforward. It's got the emblem, the red and black, fantastic emblem designed for us by Byron in California. And you can just go on there and tweet if you like. All I'm going to use it for is just keeping up with what we're doing. A lot of people say, when's the next video? Are you going to do this? And so on, and it's always on the channel. I've always got to dial it up, whereas I'm thinking maybe if it's on Twitter I can just give little short 50 character answers and keep you filled in on the project and what's going on. We now have a total of 2 weeks. Well, it's
Today.
2 weeks. 2 weeks today.
Today.
Sunday week is the show, and we're here now. The number plate, it's not going to go underneath. It's just not. I've decided on something else, something a little bit more funky and cool. So stick around for that. We'll come to that when I get to it. It may even go to the show without a pad on it because I can't decide on exactly what to do. A good mate of mine suggested pipe lagging over the frame, so it's kind of a bubbled seat. And although pipe lagging won't work, fuel hose will. Rubber fuel hose glued over each rod as a seat. I like that. And there's a few ideas. So it may be that rather than try and rush that and do it, I'll get this actually into one piece before we leave for Brightona, so I can take it along and it's done. And when we get back, then I can take it back off and carry on. It may be that's the best way forward. So who knows? There we go. Twitter, Delboy's Garage. Check it out. Say hi. We're just going to whack a few tweaks up, see if it works. If it overcomes us and it gets avalanched, we might have to just ignore it and stick with the channel because the channel comes first. All your fantastic comments and encouragement, the very suggestion of doing the exoskeleton thing, that's exactly what we've done and it looks fantastic. So there we go. Thanks for watching Delboy's Garage. Ride safe, boys and girls. Take it easy. See you for the next one.